All right, Carlos Oswita. I wrote about how Obama and Defense Secretary Leon Panetta let Americans die in Benghazi, and Susan Rice and Hillary covered it up. People asked, why would they do that? Simple. Reelection. Refer back to the previous thread, also previous video on this channel. After the killing of Osama bin Laden, Obama endlessly repeated multiple claims. Al-Qaeda had been decimated. Al-Qaeda was in disarray. Al-Qaeda is on the run. The Benghazi attack took place on September 11th, 2012. The election was November 6th, 2012. Therefore, the attack was covered up as it was happening. Then that cover-up was covered up. Remember how adamant everyone was that the attack was not carried out by Al-Qaeda? In fact, it was. Even the New York Times reported that. Quote, 3 congressional investigations and a State Department inquiry are now examining the attack, which American officials said included participants from the Ansar al-Sharia, Al-Qaeda, and the Islamic Maghreb and the Mohammed Jamal Network, a militant group in Egypt. End quote. That from the New York Times. Libya warnings were plentiful but unspecific. Both the Mohammed Jamal Network and Ansar al-Sharia are Al-Qaeda affiliates. Therefore, it was 3 Al-Qaeda units that sent 150 men to carry out a carefully planned and rehearsed attack that lasted 8 hours. All such attacks are rehearsed. They build scale models that are rehearsed until everyone knows everything by heart. They make full-size scale models somewhere unseen. These are generally just scrapes in the ground that represent the shapes of buildings. So Al-Qaeda proved that Obama was lying. When the attack began, multiple people on the ground described the scale to Washington and the Pentagon. Everyone knew immediately that this was the real thing. So they decided to do nothing and let everybody die. The survivors have been ignored or belittled. The Democrats and the press, but I repeat myself, simply announce that the latest conspiracy theory against Obama has been debunked, and he doesn't have to face the consequences of his actions. Obama is helped by the shocking level of ignorance and dishonesty out there. People who have no morals will step in to tell you that you're wrong, simply so that they can puff themselves up as experts. They don't actually support Obama. They're opportunists who want to be rich and famous. We live in a country in which too many people are willing to rationalize creating every form of mayhem. They tell themselves that since everybody else is doing it, then why shouldn't they? Well, because doing certain things is objectively wrong. Doing certain things is inexcusable. I'll never understand the people willing to sacrifice all of us in order to protect one incompetent buffoon. Obama is already applying his magical reverse Midas touch. The people he endorses lose. He's a failure on all levels. Now, I make no secret that I'm a fanatical supporter of Donald Trump, but would I let people die in order to help him? Of course not. You may not have had the experience of protecting old, enfeebled, helpless people. Even though I was not close to my parents, taking care of them for 20 years was not hard. If my brother and I hadn't, nobody would have. I didn't have a family, and I'd flopped at everything I ever did, so I don't feel that I missed out on anything. My psychological issues prevented me from taking part in society at large, and my parents offered a rent-free house, health insurance, and a salary. So I took them up on it. And boy, was it hard. They were the 2 most pig-headed people I've ever known. But they were afraid. So they masked it with denial and stubbornness. When you understand why people do things, it makes it easier to deal with them. After it was all over, my osteoarthritis stood up and shouted, "Now it's my turn, Sonny." But so what? Look around you. How many people are dealing with super tough issues? You live day by day, and you appreciate every single thing that isn't bad. Look at this. November of 1985. Trump explained how he was going to bring world peace, hence the dove. It's a cover of Manhattan Inc. magazine entitled Donald Trump's Ultimate Deal, and it's Donald Trump in his early 40s holding a white dove. That is a president. Obama is a venal clown. He covered up Benghazi because he wanted to be reelected. Remember his last week in office? The week that would not end. Time slowed down to a crawl. Obama was on TV every minute of every day, giving the impression that he was somehow being removed from office by illegitimate means. Projection. He was already trying to do that to Trump. Remember, the Congressional Budget Office is expecting 21.5% growth in the third quarter of this year. That's 160% of the previous high in 1951. Before COVID-19, we were at about 3.2 to 3.5% growth per year. Trump is going to be picked up and rammed back into the White House for a second term. He's going to be fired from a cannon back into the White House. Obama is a criminal and a flop. His lackeys were making money and exercising power. Everyone needed Obama to get a second term, so Benghazi was covered up, and then the cover-up was covered up for wealth and power. I have no doubt that a lot of Obama's lackeys are true believers of radical leftism. Add it all together, and you get Benghazi. It's important to note that Susan Rice excused al-Qaeda and blamed everything on an American citizen. Mark Basili Youssef, the man arrested for uploading the trailer to YouTube, is a petty criminal. So Obama's lackeys used him to distract from Obama. There was never even a movie. It was just a horrendously amateurish trailer. The federal government used a YouTube video to cover up for al-Qaeda and protect Obama from facing the consequences of his malfeasance. It didn't matter that American citizens died. The one person in the U.S. who mattered was Barack Obama. We had our absolute dictatorship, as Juliet Akinyi showed us, and there are going to be links in the description to the Baldilocks blog, which gives a gigantic list of every illegal act during the Obama administration. Benghazi was about getting Obama reelected. That was more important than the country itself. Trump has said several times that at some point he'll reveal everything Obama did. Trust the Trump. I say again, trust the Trump. Carry on.